you had to save yourself. You were literally embracing yourself because there was nobody there to pick you up, right? And I think our audience resonates with that. We get that feeling of we've fallen apart. There's nobody to pick us up. I'm pouring from this empty cup. Help. Yeah. But I feel like we struggle to make that decision because it's hard for us to connect self-love, me choosing me, with my purpose in my marriage, my role as a wife. Like, how do I do that? How do I choose me and also be this helper in my marriage? So is there a remedy to this?
Yes. First off, we're taught to, when we think about ourselves, that it's selfish. Okay. Especially in the programming of little girls and coming up, we're taught to always think about others, never make it about yourself, always share, all of this. And, I want to address something with that question because as Black women, we've associated being of service and we've connected it to our value and our worth. So we are constantly serving and overserving and overgiving. And this has, it has the result of depression. It has the result of anxiety. It has the result of emotional and mental dysfunction, right? And we can get so far away from ourselves that we end up in an identity that is really not our own. And with that, we have to truly ask ourselves, are we ready to make that shift? Because that means you're going to have to not just let go of a marriage, you're going to have to let go of people who are depending on you. Because we have these codependencies happening here. Not only are people depending on us and how we serve and share and give, but we've also become accustomed to being that person codependent on that relationship of serving, sharing, and giving. So that means we have to detox. It's a literal detox that we have to do. And we have to start really creating boundaries. And that's something that
that's a cuss word for many women.
Right.
Boundaries.
Boundaries.
Dun, dun, dun. Absolutely.
That's the first thing. You have to identify what is going on here and where am I in this space, and am I being an enabler?
Yes.
Because most of the time we think we're sharing and serving and giving, and really what we're doing is we're enabling.
And I also think we're scared because we're not trained to choose us, as you said. So the moment it dawns on us that, hold up, this is not enough for me. I have an identity. I have a purpose. I have a mission. I have a calling. There's more to me than this. There's this guilt that kicks in, and we're terrified to stand up to the guilt and make those decisions because of the codependency. Because what happens is now I've got to let a whole bunch of people know where I stand. And I've never done that before. And that is terrifying for us because now there's the rejection, the guilt, the mommy guilt. There's all of that.
And then there's 10 against 1.
And then there's 10 against 1. Oh my!
If not more.
If not more.
You
because you've been
on your
serving
square
everyone.
by yourself. You standing on your square by yourself.
Yes.
That's scary.
Very scary.
How do you do that? You gonna have to connect with other women.
Come on.
Who standing on their square. There's no way to do it without community. Okay? That's the only way we're gonna do this. Sisters helping sisters. Sisters supporting sisters. Women who are standing 10 toes down.
Because they understand the wife's journey, the woman's journey. They
in
get
their
it.
anointing.
Yes.
They got to stand 10 toes down in their anointing. Your anointing is more than just being a wife and a mother and an employee. And you have an identity and a gift and an anointing, and that should be honored as well as all of the other things.
Okay, so Tracey, about to sing up in here. Hello. Let me just say this.
Yes.
What about a wife who is in a marriage? It's not neglect. It's lack of access, lack of ability, lack of skill, lack of talent. She's in the same position though as what we're talking about. She's at the end of her thread. She needs help. She's trying to go to him. What's the plan? He doesn't have it. How does she then step into her? She doesn't want a divorce. She wants to fix this. And he's not resistant to it. He just really don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What do you say to her? How does she step into her purpose? How does she choose her and pull her own, what is it, safety raft? Life raft. What does
Life
she
raft.
do for her own life raft?
I would definitely suggest marriage counseling in that essence. And I'm going to be crystal clear. I wouldn't suggest marriage counseling coming from a religious standpoint. With
Okay,
that.
tell us why.
And the reason why is because in religion, women are taught to stick and stay till death do you part. Now, you heard my death, right? So, and the reason I say that is, and you could have like a Christian-based counselor, but they have to be a little more open-minded and understand that, okay, the wife has found her, it wants to move into her identity. She wants to rediscover who she is. And I find a lot of that happens usually during the empty nest. Empty nest. Husband's kicked back, he's fishing. You know what I'm saying? He has the remote with the recliner.
Nice life. You done had a good life.
He done had a good
well
life.
taken
Kids
care
is
of.
gone, and now she's like, okay, Harold.
Why you got to be Harold?
I hate to say it. Harold, James. What we gonna do? I wanted to travel. We've been saying we was gonna go travel and we was gonna go to Greece.
I'm tired.
Are you
I don't
ready?
want to go to Greece.
That's it. Baby, do we have to? Or how long we staying? And all that. She's ready to explore. She's done her
Why
mothering
is she ready
piece.
to explore, Tracey?
Because she's done her mothering piece.
She's done it
She's
all.
wifed. She's done all of this. She's ready to explore now. She's paid her dues. She's given of her time. She shared of herself. Now she wants to explore the things that have been burning in her soul all this time that she's made constant sacrifices for. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So now she's James. Come on now. We need to, Harold. We need to go to Greece. And he's comfortable. He's very comfortable.
Gotta go
and
nowhere.
nothing is wrong with that because you want the comfort of your husband. But what I'm finding is many men may find an issue with that because, Pam is no longer most accessible as she was before because see now Pam and Linda, you know what I'm saying? They want to travel. They want to get with their girlfriends. They want to start a book club. There's things that they want to go take a cooking course, a language class. They have all of these interests inside of them, God-given interests.
Start a business,
Right,
whatever.
Start a business, all of that. And Harold's like, wait a minute, where's my wife? I need my wife. Why? We ain't got dinner cooked. Well, I just cooked the other day, baby. It's leftovers in the refrigerator. Well, I don't have you here to make my plate. You like, when did I become Miss Mary May? No, you ain't Mary May. You're my wife. So I would definitely say marriage counseling is very, very important because there is definitely a shift with her and not necessarily a shift with him. She's growing and evolving and he's comfortable in that. And it's nothing wrong with that, but they're going to have to come to a meeting of the minds. They're going to have to come to a level of understanding where he understands where she is now. And then she also honors and understands where he is. But there has to be an honoring of those sacred spaces that both of them are in. Because there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. And that actually can work. That can work if the two are willing. Let's be clear. Willing to do the work to make it work.
Absolutely.
See, it's a difference between being willing and ready. Let's be
Talk
clear.
about it.
Okay? Because in my marriage, the willingness was there. Honey, willing.
On your
willing.
end.
Yes,
Okay.
on my end and readiness.
Oh, okay.
Because I had all the resources to do it.
Okay.
Right? And I was creating resources as we went along to do it. So the willingness was there with my then husband too, but he wasn't ready for a lot of it. He wasn't ready for the increase in the evolution of what I was experiencing with what we were creating. I was doing a lot of the footwork, and I was okay in that. And what happens is, and this is happening in a lot of marriages right now, in a lot of relationships, is that the women are evolving and excelling, widely, and a lot of the husbands and the men, they're looking like, wait a minute, where am I in this? Where is my place in this? And you're saying, honey, you got a place, you this and that and this and that, but they don't feel, because they're not at the level she may be at. Like, she may be in front of the cameras, she may be doing the interviews, she may be, getting the awards. And even though she'll say, I want to thank my husband, honey, come here for a minute. Yeah. I can't do this without my king. I love you, king. You know what I'm saying? Even though she's doing that, because see, I was doing all that. You know what I'm saying? I was even shouting my husband out. Look, y'all go over there to his business. This is the, the way I'm doing. It's still, not enough. It was not enough. And many times too, that's going to also cause a delay, a real delay in the growth of the marriage, the union, and both of you individually, and whatever seed you have planted in the earth. It's going to cause a delay in that as well. So, yeah.
I mean, you probably hear these stories a lot, right? The same story over and over again with the woman. She did all these things. She gave the accolades, like you're saying, and it didn't work. For some reason, that didn't fill his cup because he wasn't in a position where he thought he should be, right? Does that speak to the nature of marriage in general? Because husbands tend to not recognize all the aspects of the help that a wife can bring to the table if you are open to it, right? There's nothing biblical that says she is to help in the kitchen only. She is to help with raising the kids only. She is to help iron your shorts only. There's nothing in the Bible that talks about how we're supposed to help. Right. But we know that he provided us with our own individual personalities and giftings and all of that. And so if the wife in your life is gifted in business, she's an entrepreneur, she's making the money, she's the spokesperson, she's the energy, the personality, all of that. It seems that some men can't handle that and haven't been able to perceive the gift that she is. Do you see that often?
I see it often, especially now with the evolution of the Black woman and what in this how she's being positioned. It's
when you say how she's being positioned as the head,
it's how she's being positioned as being put in places of power.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Being put in places of where she can extend her creativity to provide economic growth.
Okay.
Like she's creating and developing and setting up things because we're wise women. They say Proverbs 31 woman, she's a wise woman. She can go into the marketplace. She could sit and network. She can do all of these things as we discussed in the beginning, being able to multitask, right? But us being women and having feminine energy, we're fertile anyway. We are fertile. So that means usually if we are aligned right, and aligned in our gifts and in our anointing, whatever we touch is going to grow and blossom. And I think many times men don't really understand that going in and understanding the favor and the gift of his wife, that we have that ability to whatever we touch. If we are aligned in our anointing, with whatever we touch is going to multiply because we are the fertile ground of all of that. So if they really could understand who we are as far as feminine energy and what we really bring to the table, because it says when a man finds a good woman, a wife, he finds a good thing, meaning he finds favor. We are the favor. They are the covering, but we are the favor. Right?
You preaching, honey.
Okay. So when they really understand who we are in that.
In their lives.
In their lives. And who we are in the community. When they really understand that, it's not anywhere they can't go or do. And I heard, it was powerful. I heard Tabitha Brown and her husband chance. They were actually on a podcast, and they asked him that. They said, how do you feel about your wife? Did you see that?
I didn't see it.
Girls, they said, how do you feel about your wife, having the cooking and then having the books and having the seasoning and having going here and just developing and evolving and shining, and this being your wife, and you not being there, with her in all of that. He had to basically say, look, her last name is Brown.
Hello, come on.
That means whatever she doing, that's our brand. She took my last name, so whatever she doing, I'm being branded too. He said, so it ain't nothing she ain't doing where the Brown ain't being branded, and my last name is Brown. Baby, when I tell you, I was like, yes,
he gets it. And didn't they
baby.
get clowned years ago because he quit his job and they were trying to clown him like, was he a police officer or something like that?
I don't even know about the clowning.
Yeah, but they were clowning that, he quit his job, and she was defending like, don't be mad because I'm blessed in my household and my husband is able to leave his job to come into this business. But it's just such a twisted outlook that society has on partnership.
Yes.
And people have not understood the real roles that are to be played inside marriage. Nobody said that the man had to make the most money. No one said that.
Right.
It's just like back in the day, whenever they were herding and gathering and all of that, did it matter if the wife had all the sheep as long as he knew how to slaughter it and cut it up and attack it? What does it matter? We're partners.
Baby, I got all the sheep. Can you take care of the sheep?
Can you cut the sheep
Can
up
you take care
and
of the
fry
sheep?
it on the grill?
Feed the sheep, baby. Come on, do what we have to find our parts and our roles in the things that we're creating. And if your wife is the one who's out there and she's the face, however, you are just as supportive. You are just, I found what a lot of women truly need. And I'm finna give y'all brothers some game here. What a lot of women truly need is, if they are very creative, they are very outgoing, that they have created the businesses, they're running this, they're running that, but you are there and she has your last name, okay, so it's being branded, with you in there, and you come in and you support and do and help wherever is necessary. I think the real thing that we look for as women, I know I did, was when I finally came home to you, babe, I wanted it to be about us. I needed you to refill me. Meaning, baby, what do you need? Like, what do you need now? Because I know you've done so much. You went into the boardroom, you've just spent this. We've just spent this to do this. You've just had this interview. You just did this. When you come home, it's kind of like how men feel. When they come home from being out in that world, they just want to know they got a hot meal cooked. They want to know they got peace in their home. Right? Maybe, the wife didn't ran a bath. Maybe she's massaging his shoulders. Maybe she just got his movie on or whatever, brought him his beer. Like, he needs that comfort in that catering. And like you said, nobody said the role was for me to do all the cooking. That might not be my ministry. Okay? But if I am doing all of the things to create what it is we've created as a union, then I expect to also come home and have that comfort in that catering as well. So we need, baby, what can I do for you right now? I've cooked or I've ordered out. They're going to be bringing the food. Baby, I just need you to relax. Baby, come here, give me your feet. I know you've been standing all day. Let me massage your feet. It's those little things to show us that you in it with us.
Tracey.
Okay. Yes.
2 more questions for you, okay?
Okay.
Talk about the reality of how long it took you to get from margaritas to the Bible to the sacred CEO.
Well, I was the sacred CEO before.
Okay.
Yes, because of my work that I had with the Academy. I was in the trauma-informed space for over 20 years.
Okay.
I had the Academy for close to 11 or 12. And I no longer, I realized that I had taken on too much trauma of others. Even though I was doing my own cleansing and even though I was doing my own, depressing, getting out of that stress, and I still had residue, lots of residue from all the women that we've helped, right? The reason that we got that big, that big house, me and my husband, was because we wanted to do retreats, healing retreats. And we did that. Like while we were doing it, we did an amazing thing together. I can take nothing from him with that. We did, when we got together, honey, I was his yin to his yang, baby, and we made that thing pop, blow up. We did that.
Yes.
And like I said, but in the essence of that, when I started plummeting down and I need to be restored, that's when I recognized, okay, I'm not going to get my restoration here. But in that trauma-informed space, I had to let that go. So now what I've begun to do in my prayer life, coming from margaritas, when I finally said, okay, the margaritas ain't working, there's no answers here. This is just a temporary, avoidance.
Bridge. Okay.
Yeah, avoidance of a lot of feelings because you're in a very low state of pain. You're in a lot of pain, right? And when I finally recognized and got up out the margaritas and got, more into my prayer life, began to fast, definitely began to start working on my own issues and how I even, I had to look at myself with a lot of stuff and what I recognized. And I want to say this. What I recognize in doing my own self-care work and going to a therapist, because I do recommend, people think you're crazy if you go to therapy. I think you're crazy if you don't. Okay. When I went to my therapist, something that I recognize about myself is that I usually choose very handsome, emotionally unavailable men who manipulate and gaslight. Yeah.
That's the pattern.
That has been my pattern. So even though I've sat here and I've told you that my husband couldn't provide the seed for me, I'm telling you why my husband couldn't provide the seed for me.
So where did the circle land?
Because it landed right back to me. He didn't have it coming in. And because this is a pattern that I've learned from childhood, because that's what I dealt with in a home, and I knew I'm familiar with that. I can navigate that. I've survived that. I know how to navigate in the world with that, right? So the familiarity had me keep choosing the same man in a different body.
Oh my God.
Right? So I had to, all goes back to you in the things that you've allowed. Okay, because I let a lot of stuff slide because I didn't want to be confrontational. I didn't want to be challenging. I wanted to be the good wife. I wanted to support and honor and, when it came back to me and what I needed and what I had to do, I was like, I can't even blame you. I mean, I can go in and say, yeah, okay, this didn't happen, that didn't happen, but the real... I'm the common denominator in this thing here.
That's a hard pill for many women to swallow.
I had to get real with myself. And that's why I said when we did it. And it was big. And it was good. Oh, it was good. But as, and I look at it, because you asked the question before. You said, usually we've already begun to leave before we actually leave, right? And when I had to do a hard look at how am I contributing to this, how am I enabling? I had to look at, I had to be real honest with that. And I seen like, okay, you've come to the death of this thing, because we talk about, marriage till death do us part. Let's talk about death. Death of what?
Death of what?
Is it the death of me physically? Is it the death of this union? Is it, is this the expiration date? Or have we met the expiration date? Was this a season to teach me about who I am in this moment? Are the memories there to show me who I can be and bring out the positivity of the happiness and the beauty of what was? I still have all of that to go back to. I still have that reservoir to pull from, It was beautiful.
But when you talk about that till death do we part, I want to stick there for a little bit, because I don't think people recognize there's a lot of ways your marriage can die.
Yes.
And this is why counseling is so important, because if you get into counseling and you got a counselor in there that is resuscitating all the things, they are shocking you with the paddles and all of that, giving you all the resources, but no revival, like it's dead and nothing is awakening. We have to use our mental faculties. We have to use what God gave us, our eyes, our ears, our sense of smell, taste, touch. Like at some point you got to acknowledge what is to make a decision and decide, is this thing dead? Can this thing be revived? That's what people are missing. We're hearing till death do us part, and we're thinking, well, when we both die, first of all, odds are, unless there's a tragedy, one of you is going to die before the other one anyway. So the way we think about till death do us part, you'd think we both just conk out right here. No, it doesn't happen that way. And so we really need to begin to evaluate the difference so that we can save ourselves sometimes. Sometimes we are holding on to something that has been dead so long, it's buried in dead. It's in the casket 6 feet under, and everybody knows but you.
You know, I didn't want to be one of the women who was going to live in regret. I didn't want to be one of the women who was going to age before her time. You know, I didn't want to be one of the women whose body was going to start giving out because I had did nothing else but stayed in a loveless, dysfunctional, unhealthy union. I deserved so much better. I deserved so much more. And there's so many women that stay because they're scared to know who they are without that union and everything that comes with it. They're scared to stay. And I get it. I totally get it. I was scared to leave too. I was very scared to leave. But like I said, it had got to the point it was going to be the death of me if I didn't. And I wanted to see my grandkids. I wanted to see my great-grandkids. I want to be healthy enough and fine enough. Let's be clear, okay? To see and enjoy my great-grandkids and cook for them, and them to be able to say, "Ooh, we going to Mama's house and we gonna eat with Mama." I want to see that. I would have loved to see that with him because he is a high-value family man. Oh, that is one of the things that attracted me to him, right? Because I wanted to leave a legacy where my family's seen and his family's seen a healthy union, a marriage, long-lived. That's very important in our community to see that. But that's going to come with a lot. That come with a big cost. It's a big cost in that. But then there's a lot of women who have stayed, who have so many regrets. And I don't want to be her. I want to live a long time. And if I'm going to choose to live within a union, a marriage union, I want to be there because I truly chose to be here because this is part of my legacy and my future, and it feels good. Regardless to how much work I've put in, how much I've earned. You know, there was a time where women couldn't buy property. There was a time women couldn't have a credit card. Women couldn't have a bank account. Women had to depend on men for those things. So they had to stay in those long-term abusive, dysfunctional relationships, right? And it's just not that anymore. And because we do have access to resources and income, you know, and we are able to create from our womb space, you know, and create all of these things and this family and these people and these homes and these businesses. Now we do have a choice.
We do have a choice.
And just because, you know, I think in me leaving, and I'm just going to share this, I think that I'm honoring my grandmother, my great-grandmother who couldn't leave. Because she didn't have resources. And I'm like, great granny, I can do it though.
Yeah.
I can do it though, and I understand. So I live that through her too, because so many of our great-great-grandmothers and our grandmothers, they died miserable. They died heartbroken. You know?
Tracey Bryant. I want to just thank you for helping her, because these voices need to be heard, and we need to be able to understand all the perspectives. And there are women out there listening right now that are resonating. They're literally actually vibrating right now because they cannot believe that somebody literally somehow spoke like an arrow directly to the heart of the matter for her. And there's some things that you can do. Number one, the biggest thing is get that self-care going, which starts sometimes with therapy. I love what you said. It's not about being crazy getting therapy. You're crazy if you don't.
In this day and age, you crazy if you don't, honey.
Get some therapy, because you don't want to continue to repeat the cycle. Whatever your next move is, you want to do it from a healthy, whole, and healed place. So before we wrap up, I definitely want to give you an opportunity to let our audience know, how can they learn more about you, connect with you? How do we find you?
You can find me at my up-and-coming podcast, and my launch date is actually August 31st. We're having a live launch party, so I'm very excited, and it is Life After Divorce. So that's where we are speaking about marriage, relationships, and happiness over heartbreak.
I love it.
Happiness over heartbreak. And there is life after divorce. So you can go to lifeafterdivorceshow.com. I am Tracey, the Sacred CEO, on IG, and Tracey R. Bryant on Facebook. Okay.
I love it. Thank you so much, y'all. Look her up if you're going through some things. And I know we have a lot of folks that, whether it was your choice or not, you're divorced and you are looking for support. You need answers. Look her up. She is a wealth of wisdom, as you can hear, and a lifetime friend declared by me. All right. That's it for this episode of The Suitable Helper. We will see you next time. Take care.